discretion is advised.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the New to Wrestling Podcast After Dark. We are so back, honey. If you are new here, so am I. Welcome. I'm the new and new to wrestling. My name is Kelsey. If you're not so new, if you're a returning fan, so is Xavier. And welcome back. We're so excited to have you here. It's been a minute. We took a little hiatus from After Dark, and we're gonna dive back in with something fun, something easy, some easily listening for y'all, because we were really keeping it traumatizing for a minute there. But
No, absolutely, absolutely. We somehow managed to find some good balance between wrestlers' lives falling absolutely off the rails and some good lighthearted fun.
yeah, so and it feels apropos to talk about what we're talking about today, because as of right now, Bret Hart a mere 2 days ago made his return to the WWE. They had an episode in Canada, and so Mr. Canada himself made an appearance at WWE, and he came out and said a little hey there, hi there. And from what I understand, this is like his first time back at WWE since the incident?
No.
Okay. I didn't know.
It's been a minute. It's been since 2012, I believe.
Okay.
It's been a hot minute since he's been back.
A hot minute.
Yeah. We won't even get into the incident because
I don't know anything about it. I know it is like one of the biggest things that happened in wrestling, and I know nothing about it. It's like one thing that hasn't been spoiled for me in the slightest, and I live for that. I really have no idea. Yeah.
Really is the one thing that you'd think would be like the most spoilable.
And it's almost happened a few times. And I'm like, no. Yes.
Right.
Yeah. And even at the gym, my new gym friends that I talk wrestling with, I was like, no, don't tell me. I was like, I don't know anything. But yeah, so tonight we're gonna be talking about two matches, brother on brother crime, fratricide, if you will, between Bret Hart and his brother Owen, which again seems kind of on point because where we're at in our regular show. If you listen, we are witnessing the reformation of the Hart Foundation, or we have been for the last, month or so, maybe 2 months. So they've kissed and made up, and now we're going back to their roots of hating each other. So we watched we watched WrestleMania 10 from 1994 at Madison Square Garden, and then we watched SummerSlam 1994 that took place in the new, what was it? Some airline center in Chicago.
Hold on.
It was like, it wasn't Delta. Was it United?
It was the United Center. It is the
It was
United Center.
the brand new United Center in Chicago.
In 1994, like the two of us. So
yeah, so let's get into it. So we actually, because Owen versus Bret in WrestleMania 10 was the very first match of WrestleMania, because then also I guess Bret Hart goes on to fight Yokozuna later on, as we know. Double duty. So he opens WrestleMania with this fight with his brother, and Xavier blessed me because he was, while we were getting ready and we were chatting before we started watching, he was like, hold on, is this Little Richard? And I was like, what do you mean? And basically he was like, okay, we're gonna watch from the very beginning, like we're not even gonna go right to the match, because the Little Richard sings America the Beautiful to open WrestleMania 10, and I cannot think of anything more iconic. And also, how did that? I mean, WrestleMania, they knew how to pull the big guns. They always have.
Yeah. One year they had like Cyndi Lauper, like Muhammad Ali was like a special guest referee. Mr. T had a match. If there's anything they're gonna do is cross promo. That's something tried and
right.
formula.
Yeah.
And especially like for the national anthem or like one of these like super patriotic songs, they always get somebody.
And amen. And it's really funny because they opened WrestleMania 10 with like 10 years of whatever, of WrestleMania montage, whatever. And it was so like, I don't know, it was like very
I don't know. There was something about it that just seemed very 80s. I don't know
It
why,
was so 80s, even though it was 1994.
but it felt very like a something like a commercial you'd see like playing at a bank. I don't know. Just like
Period. Yeah. And it was funny because I was like, what is this? And Xavier goes, it's a beautiful montage of WrestleMania history. As in, like, show some freaking respect, bitch. Like, I was like, oh, okay. Sorry.
no, it was just a lackluster montage, which we then for during the singing of America the Beautiful were presented with what you can imagine as your like PowerPoint slideshow of just patriotic images. To see,
Crazy. Even like the
yeah,
little girl in like the lacy dress and like the sunbonnet, like holding the American flag aloft, like it was
100%.
the parasailer over the Grand Canyon. It was like
Patriotism knows no bounds, really. It is
none. They said across the fruited plains. Across the fruited plains.
one of those fucking fruited plains.
Every last one. So I also just want to say Little Richard, I love Little Richard so much. When I was a child, you like I must have been in like first grade or kindergarten, and they sent home like a little sheet of like to my parents of like, what's my favorite color? What's my favorite blah blah blah. And fun fact, Little Richard wrote and performed the theme song to the Magic School Bus. Look it up. And I wrote when I was a child that like my favorite song was the Magic School Bus song. So been a Little Richard stan even before I knew. So
Absolutely,
he
absolutely.
absolutely eats. He has a gospel choir surrounding the ring. I mean, he really takes it there. There's an electric organ that really sent me. Like it was amazing. Just had to mention it.
Love to see
Um, and then Jerry, because he's still Jerry, no matter what time
it.
we're in, is wearing just a king's cloak with no shirt.
Yeah, I'm assuming because at this point he's more of an active wrestler, not like
Just a commentator.
more of a commentator than an active wrestler. So, um, I guess that's why he's more like ready to go. Like his Crocs are in sport mode, I guess we could say.
Ugh!
But but like I don't know, I don't need it
I didn't
really.
need to see it. I didn't need to see it. And he's, just as disgusting as ever. So, now we get into the match. So I had never seen these. So I literally was so flabbergasted in watching so much. I like took not a note. The only notes I have is like I didn't realize they called Owen Hart the Rocket. I'd never heard that before. Because if you're new here, I started watching in 1996, right after King of the Ring. So this is 2 years before we started watching. So I didn't know they called him the Rocket. Wish they still did. Kind of miss it. And he wears the Bret Hart glasses when he comes in.
Yes, 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 yes. Which I mean, he does make it all the way to the ring and just like rip them up. But
Just
like,
rips him up, yeah.
yeah, yeah. But he does wear them out. We'll go from here. We get a little recap as to how we got to this hot mess that is
Oh
this moment.
yes, yes.
It takes us back to Survivor Series of the prior year where there was a little miscommunication between Owen and Bret. Bret's on the apron. Owen knocks into him. Bret gets knocked off, and Owen is the only member of that team that gets eliminated. Um, they get into it after the match. They're feuding. They're just family beefing. The
Mm-hmm.
brother, and so we like are taken to another promo where seemingly Bret is like, no, it's all behind us. Like clearly we had some tension, but like we're good now. We're gonna try and win the tag team titles. They're taking on the Quebecers, which is just like Canadian free for all apparently. And um so they are unsuccessful in that match, and Owen, at the close of that match, basically throws a tantrum and just starts attacking Bret after the fact. And then where are we, Bret? Oh, and then we are taken to another promo from Bret Hart where he's essentially just like, "I will never, ever fight my brother under no circumstances." So yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
kind of love that though, because it's like it tells the story of like I never wanted to do this and you pushed me here.
Exactly.
Like I get it's like, okay, obviously you're gonna fight. Like we know that. But it's like also it kind of like adds that little nugget of like, I didn't want to do this to you, Owen. You pushed me.
Right. And then Owen is, sits on the other side of that, being that like, oh, I've had to live in your shadow. Like,
Yes.
yeah. What did I have written down? Yeah, you've held me down my entire life. So like we get this is the feud like I wanted out of Bart and
Yes.
Billy,
Billy.
but we just fully never got. Just
Oh,
fully we just glossed over that. And honestly, like I'm kind of glad we didn't get it because after seeing these, I mean I've seen them before, but after seeing them fresh and back to back, there's no way they would have come close. So
well, it's true. But the thing is, we know that. And it, again, it didn't have to be like to this degree. It could have just been a thing. Like, because I mean, they'll never be this. This match was really crazy, but it's just like, obviously, people want to see this story. So, but whatever.
the story is literally as old as like the Bible. We
Literally, Cain and Abel. He said,
so it's not like it'll work, baby. Like we know it works.
yeah.
They're like tall tales for a reason. They stick around for a long time.
The lore. Yes, the lore is endless.
So Owen comes out first. Again, he's wearing the Bret Hart glasses. He rips them up when he gets to the ring. We have a moment on the way out that he looks into the camera directly. He's like, "I'm the best," as we know. This is really kind of the like fruition of this little brat character, the
I
one that
will.
we knew and loved,
Yes.
like started here. Because up to this point, he's really just kind of like another like baby face, just like
Interesting.
um.
No one does
So
Brat like him, and I really feel like Brat. He is Brat.
what is Brat?
Owen is Brat, and Brat Summer is not over, just so you guys know. But I just
Summer's not over. We still have some time. I don't know.
no,
Like, let me. Like, can I live, please?
swear, stop telling me what's over and what's beginning. You don't know my life. You don't know what I'm up to. Just because they put out the pumpkin spice does not mean this spice is pumpkining, okay? And that's that. Um, but I will say I really no one, and I've said this before, clock it, no one does Bratty like Owen, and I feel like this is I thought he was Bratty from when we watch now. And this is like 10 times more, and it's delightful. It's so good. I love him so much.
You can tell immediately. So they lock up for 2.5 seconds. They like break apart. Owen immediately turns around and gives us the yeah. Gives us a validation.
And thank God.
I love it. Owen is sent to the outside. Bret fall. Owen basically follows up immediately. Like he comes back in the ring. He's pissed about it. Slaps Bret right in the face. Just immediately, the gloves are coming off. He's trying to get under his skin.
Love it.
Yeah, which we love to see. Bret, I have another. Bret's also wrestling in the main event, so he's pulling double duty. And which is surprising based on how long this match went.
Oh my God, it went on for
Not in like a bad way. Like it was
no,
entertaining.
not in a bad way. Oh my God, no.
You have to like do this again.
Against Yokozuna.
Of all people, right?
Mama.
Mm. How about
Crazy.
I miss Owen's long hair. Where we are in our regular show, he like really gives quite the buzz cut, and I miss the long hair.
And it's really funny because I feel like you love a buzz cut.
I do normally.
Yeah, you do.
Like for some reason, it's just
It doesn't work for him.
so that is the Owen Hart like that is imprinted in my mind, and I don't want anymore.
And I agree. And I wanted to love the buzz cut, and I did not, but I also love long hair. I'm a long hair girly. So as soon as that cut came, I was like, ooh. Although when we see Bulldog in the next match, he needs a buzz cut, and he needs it bad.
So Owen is once again sent to the outside. This time he kind of seems like he's like over it, but Bret kind of follows him out, drags him back to the ring. Jerry has quite the one-liner about their parents, which I just thought was hilarious.
So good.
Them like how old they are, how they have 400 kids, and whatever.
The usual.
There he goes. I wouldn't believe them if their tongues were notarized. They're habitual liars. And you're just like, what?
I wouldn't believe them if their tongues were notarized. That the way I'm going to use that, I say that all the time. I'm like, if anything, wrestling's just given me so many comebacks because, like, imagine you're gossiping with your friends, and I was like, she can say what she wants, but I wouldn't believe her if her tongue was notarized. Like, everyone would be like,
ooh, oof, snatched. Anyway,
oh my God, you gave yourself a thumbs up.
Yeah, with whatever, like Apple seems to be like
Your FBI agent like loved your joke and was like, yes.
It's about time I gave him a win. It's really just been mayhem. So
I swear they've really been watching a really sad story.
they've just been watching my screen time go up and up as my mental health declines.
They were like, you know what? Give him a thumbs up. Let's just good job. Oh.
Owen slams Bret into the ring post on the outside, throws him into the ring, and then puts him in a camel clutch. And the entire time has Bret in the camel clutch, he's just yelling at him. He's just yelling at him.
Yeah.
I love to see it. He follows up that camel clutch with one of the most beautiful belly to belly suplexes I've ever seen. Like, it was just immaculate.
Yeah.
And this match is that there was just a lot of like scientific wrestling, which we knew there was like going to be. And they're just like really great storytellers in that, like, you can see them like start out like scientifically, kind of that devolves into like some brother on brother like violence. You can kind of see the frustration between the two build like throughout. They're just so good.
Yeah. It was amazing.
It was absolutely spectacular. Owen does a tombstone on Bret, the tombstone pile driver, which is crazy because he's not the Undertaker, so he and you're like, I was like, this is not a move that needs a jump.
Yeah, no.
And then Owen misses with a big splash.
Yeah.
Like all the way, like 3/4 of the way across the ring, and there was no way he was gonna make it onto Bret.
Yeah, there's moments now where I'm like, oh, he's too far. He's too far.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, right? Bret follows that up with an atomic drop and a clothesline, and the clothesline is so hard. And we think of that one line that Shawn Michaels says, like, nobody will ever hit you harder than your best friend. I think we might have to make an amendment, is that your brother might hit you harder because the way these two were, like, both of them on both ends, like, their shots were heard.
Like, it felt so real. And I know it's not real. Like, let's not go there. But it's like, it's that level of personal that's not just like wrestler promo, this is personal. It was like, I'm gonna legit punch you in the face. I'm gonna legitimately kick you in the knee. I'm like the clothesline, I said when that clothesline happened, I was like, he was clothesline back to 1993. Back a year in time to right his wrongs for what he has done. I was thinking that when because you and I both have siblings, as many of you know who are not new to the show. We've talked about it several times, but it's like the beef you have with your siblings is prime cut Angus beef. It's not a joke. And then you share the beef and then you move on. Like, you're like, it's actually pretty good. And then you like move on. But like when you're in it, you've never hated anyone more in your life.
Absolutely not. No. And it felt like that, which is great.
Yes. Yeah.
He after the clothesline, Bret follows up with a classic like the second rope elbow drop that is just synonymous with Bret Hart. And then we what I call like sharpshooter reversals, where they just back and forth, like getting in and out of the sharpshooter, which is just incredible because it's not an easy move to get in and out of. They do it with ease because they're both like the masters of it.
Yes.
And I love, a little bit of storytelling in that. It's like neither one of them is going to sit in it for long,
Yeah, and like I think it's so cool that both of them use the sharpshooter because it's like Bret's signature, quote unquote, but it's like almost feels like just Yes, the Hart specialty. And so to have them both have that in their back pocket and try and use it against each other, I feel like is also just really good storytelling. And Owen broke out of the sharpshooter in a way I can't even describe it, in a way I've literally never seen anyone else like reverse a sharpshooter before. And I was like you can only do that if you know the move so well, if you know your partner so well. Like the technical wrestling style of them together was like calligraphy. Like it was just so like woven, and like there was such, I don't know how to say it without sounding like really stupid, but there was like such like an like a fluidity to the motion of it, but also like the hard hits. Like I don't know, again, it's why I didn't write a single note, because I was just like flabbergasted. And Xavier can attest this. I was like biting my nails the whole time. I was like,
enthralled, which is the like best case scenario when you go to like show someone a wrestling thing and they're like, you know what I mean? It's the best feeling. So
oh, good.
thanks for that. So we continue on to the match. Bret hurts his knee trying to complete a splash to the outside. And Owen pretends like not to notice at first. He kind of like goes and like crawls like into the corner. You think he's just kind of like getting his win back or whatever. And the commentary team goes like, "Oh, like Owen's fortunes in this match have like just changed and he doesn't even know it." And then immediately Owen just starts wailing on the knee. He's like, "Oh, yes, he does. Yes, he does."
Oh, yes, he does. Yes, he does.
So Owen goes after the knee. We get some classic ring post leg wraps. Love to see it. He also does like, it's like a variation of like a figure four, the submission that he puts Bret in it originally.
Yes.
Because it's not like your classic figure four.
It was weird in a good way. Weird in a good way. Because I literally go to Xavier, I go, "What is that?" And he goes, "I don't even know how to describe what that is, but it's some sort of like figure four."
And then he puts him in a proper figure four, and then the two are like enthralled in that submission so much so that they both are like rolling into the ropes. That calls for the break. You're about to raise your hand, lol. Um, Sorry, I'm getting notifications from Zoom because it thinks I'm doing a lot. They roll into the ropes. Owen props Bret into the corner and just starts kicking his thigh. Bret reverses with the enziguri, which is that kick to the back of the head. And Owen gets thrown chest first into the corner.
Girl.
Crazy, crazy, crazy. That was so hard. And like, they're I always know when like you hear the turnbuckle because you always have a reaction, and then because it was like face first or like chest first, you were just like, we're like, oh my god. And
you guys have no idea. Like I cannot, first of all, I cannot hide my face for anything. I cannot ever gamble because it's always written all over my face. And when we watch a match, like I am not only like my face is like making the most insane faces, I'm very verbal. Like I'm like, oh, and then sometimes it's like so much I go, oh, sorry, because I'm like screaming in Xavier's ear, and I'm like, oh god, sorry.
No,
but that one literally was like, ah.
No, yeah, it looked like it hurt.
And the camera was like right there too, so you saw his like, and then the way he falls back, you know, he's so good at like really, yeah.
Bret performs a bulldog in the corner, gets a near fall, and then Bret hits Owen with a pile driver, another near fall, and then they go and perform a superplex. Bret performs a superplex on Owen, another near fall, and then somehow Owen ends up on his feet first, puts the sharpshooter on Bret. Bret reverses that sharpshooter of his own, but Owen is too close to the ropes, which is absolute insanity.
It's so crazy.
They brawl into the corner. Bret kind of like climbs onto Owen's shoulders like he's going to perform a victory roll, when instead he doesn't make it all the way through the roll. Owen gets his knees on Bret's shoulders and pins Bret for the 1-2-3 in a real sneaky fashion. We love to see it. I love to see it. Winner of this match, and yeah, I don't know. I love this match so much. It's definitely my like top 5.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, this is like one of my favorite. I say that a lot when we watch these, but this is definitely one of my favorites. I was actually thinking, I was like, what? I have to like start like I haven't seen so much wrestling, but I have to start like with what I've seen, like accruing my top 5 in case somebody asks me. It just feels like something you have to have, like to be like, oh,
You know what I feel like we should do like at the end of when we hit a new like wrestling year, we should
oh
just like hit that
yeah.
top 5 or like whatever we had like gone through. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, that's a great idea.
it is going to evolve. So
Well, we wanted to do, and we just didn't have time to do a year in review of our favorite moments and our least favorite moments from last year. And we had so much going on at that time. So maybe that'll be like we'll do our top 5 matches of the year,
I love that.
which we have till March. So
Yeah.
March 29th, 2-year anniversary, be there, be square. But I loved that Owen won this. I loved how he won. And I think it was, again, it went on for so long, and people really on the edge of their seat, like could not figure out who was going to win. I was saying there was a guy who was like sitting up against the railing to like walk up and down the stairs, and he was literally clutching it like he was holding onto that door in the Titanic. Like he was like, and I was like, that is me. Because my natural inclination would have believed that Owen would have won. Not Owen, I'm sorry, Bret would have won. My spirit wanted to say Owen. But I also love that Owen won because it's that moment where it's like it went on for so long, and he really like proved his grit. Like he really showed how he can withstand like that type of beating, and he can still pull out like technical moves and reversals and roll-ups and like all of this amazing stuff. Like it really, I think, gave him a very commendable level of respect, which he absolutely deserves.
No, I agree. Especially because later on that evening, Bret Hart goes on to win the WWF Championship. So,
Against Yokozuna.
yeah, having pinned uh, the WWF champion the same night he wins the championship,
Uh,
like that's enough to be like, the next night you go, hi, I beat you. Which is how this feud probably continues, which is why we ended up at SummerSlam.
with a title shot at SummerSlam. The pieces, they come together. Love that. Wow, that's so crazy. I love that. Oh, Owen. God, I love him so much. God bless him. Wow. So the next match we watch, right? We're ready to move on. We watched SummerSlam 1994. So amazing. Chicago. I mean, it opened with, we started basically the match with a Bret Hart interview before, which I will say the beginning, so amazing. Then it like derailed somewhere in the middle. And then the end, so amazing.
Yeah.
Like it, but I'm assuming, because I don't know too much of the backstory, but basically at one point Bret blames Jim Neidhart for like the bad blood between him and Owen. He's like, Jim planted the seeds of jealousy. And basically the premise of Bret's speech or his promo is jealousy is a disease, bitch. Get well soon.
Literally.
Like that is literally like the whole, like too long didn't read. That's the summary of his whole speech.
100%. Oh my god, I missed those. I missed those.
TLDR.
Like when people, I love when people try and get people like clickbait or whatever by making like 14-part TikTok stories, and the first comment is just like, "Don't bother, this is it," and I'm like, oh, "Thank you."
Love when or like when again, I've been off social media, so I haven't been in a while, but the Shade Room, again, if you guys are not new, my vice is celebrity gossip, and I have been sober for a minute, but they'll do like half the article and be like, to read the rest, like go to theshaderoom.com, and there is always a comment that's just like, post the rest of it. It's like, here you go, so that you don't have to do it. And I'm always like, thank you, sir or madam, thank you. TLDR.
Doing the Lord's work.
I swear.
Yeah, so yeah, that was basically, yeah, the gist of the magazine was just you're jealous of me. Yeah.
It's to just admit that you're jealous of me. Again, Brad Summer.
Literally. So this match, the only way you win is escape the cage.
Oh, it's a cage match.
we don't we aren't quite evolved to the point where it is pinfall submissions or escape the cage. So just escape the cage on this one.
Kind of
Owen
into
is
that though.
yeah, there's a lot of fun. Owen is introduced as the King of Hearts, as he is known after he wins the 1994 King of the Ring.
Love.
Also, like parallel to this like feud, Bret wins 93, Owen wins 94. So like,
Ooh, I just got chills.
so we're like very much like that living in the shadow thing is like a very good storyline to like play off of.
I'm very
Uh,
grateful that I have like okay, so I am the youngest, if that's not obvious to all of you, but I am the youngest, and I feel like I'm very grateful I don't have older sisters where I feel like that was a thing for me where I had to be like, but I again, it's like I get why you would be mad, and that is the best villain origin story. It's like I get why you're mad. I
I
get
can
it.
understand. Then yes, then
Yes. If I can clock it, I'm clocked in. And I just like also King of Hearts is so good. I live for that. So simple. And like when he came out, they had a projection of literally like they put his face on like the King of Hearts like playing card, like when he came out, and I was like, this is so good.
good.
I love it. I love when they do stuff like this.
Um, yeah, absolutely amazing. So, uh, the match begins pretty off the rip. Owen goes and attacks Bret in the corner immediately. Gets his face right up in the camera, and he goes, "He's nothing to me."
So good. Oh, and in the last one, she was like, get him off me. Like at one point.
And yeah, the way
He is
this
so
man
good.
between the two of them, I can't like especially in this one. There were so many moments where I was like, I believe Owen's gonna win. Like I believe that he is just going to escape by the skin of his teeth. Like there are so many moments in this match where I was like, oh my god, like so many close calls.
So
Like,
many.
we get another classic atomic drop clothesline combo from Bret. Owen starts choking Bret with his own like me thumbs upping the world with his own uh, the straps from his wrestling leotard. What am I thinking of?
What a
What is
singlet or
the better word for that?
whatever
So
it is.
straps of his own singlet. And then they cut to a really long shot of Stu and Helen Hart, like way too long, like way
Way
too long.
too long. And
You know, this happened during like the first presidential debate where like old people are on camera for too long and they don't really move that much, and you're not sure if they have paused. You know, like they don't like they like so they it just looked like the camera had like just shorted out like on Helen because she's just standing there or sitting there rather just like staring off into space because like what is she supposed to do? She's like 80 years old. Like why do we
yeah.
have for like
And
a
this
minute and a half? Like
and
she's
this is
not
gonna
gonna
be
bust out sparklers. Like there's not gonna be any thrills and chill. Like what is this?
and they no offense, this is gonna be mean, but they give you nothing. Like they're watching their two children fight to the death. And they're just like, Stu and Helen chilling. And like, I don't know if they're trying to maintain some sense of decorum. And then this is also going to be really mean. No offense, but like she's definitely a mouth breather because then she's just sitting there with her mouth just like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
whole time. And it was starting to make me uncomfortable. It's like,
You don't need this much camera time. Like we get it.
no, let them relax.
Well, just tell them that. Tell us that they're there. Just tell us that they're
Yeah.
there.
You know who really wanted camera time was Bruce. Okay. Bruce is really like he wants to be one of the boys so badly. So badly. And he was just in an episode we watched in 1997 and we were like, he needs to relax. And even then, like Bruce is trying and he looked identical, same outfit and everything with the leather jacket. Hmm?
Lessons not learned.
None at all. None at all. So you could put the camera on Bruce. He's trying to give you something. Swear.
No. Um. Owen hits Bret with an enziguri, tries to make the climb. Bret tries to go to the door for the first time. Bret hits Owen with a bulldog, and then they both scramble for the door. It's like them jumping like over each other, like leapfrog. Like clinging to the ring step, like the way that like the desperation in like the clawing of Owen, like trying to escape every time, which is amazing to me. He's like he grabs the ring steps, he grabs like the ring apron. The man is just like I want this so bad, and you can tell. At one point, Owen starts biting Bret's fingers because Brett over his like mouth. And Owen goes, okay, and literally you just see because the camera's right there, you just see him go like and just bite into his hand. And it's absolutely crazy. Owen almost escapes the cage after that little like skirmish, and then they both start fighting on the top turnbuckle, which they do way more than is comfortable. Owen hits Bret with like the most insane missile drop kick like I've ever seen out of the corner.
Oh my God.
And it was hard. Like it was
hard.
He kicks up and he like leaps to climb the cage. I thought it was so funny the way that he just like threw himself.
So good.
Spider-Man. I have another just like Owen makes you believe. Like he just makes you believe in everything that he's going to like win, that he's like that he has been screwed, that he is like, you know what I mean? Like anything he does, I just buy it because he's so whatever he's selling, please take my money. They are once again fighting on the top rope. Again, see, it happens so often. And they both fall off the top rope, and it is scary because
it's really scary.
I have another since like Owen scream punching. Just he's punching Bret and just screaming in his face. Yeah. Bret performs a back body drop on Owen, and then they have a moment where they have a meeting of the minds in the center. They collide.
Oh my God.
It again hard. All of this was really
it was like literally I couldn't even, I didn't even know how to process any of it. It was so intense.
No, insane. Owen hangs Bret from on the top rope from the top of the cage. Insanity.
I literally I wrote, is that the part I'm like Bret's balls basically get knocked back into his lower intestines?
Yeah, pretty much. Owen goes to escape the cage. Bret Hart hits him with a headbutt. Bret misses an elbow drop, and then I have another just says dang. And then Owen goes to escape after Bret misses the elbow drop. And I have a note that just says dangling by Owen's hair. There is one point where Owen is not hanging on, his feet are not on the cage, his hands are not on the cage. He is literally just being held up with his like throat across the top steel bar, and Bret's just holding his hair. Looks crazy.
Like
absolutely.
Owen is like kicking his legs, and like they're just hanging in some sort of like equilibrium with Bret like yoinking on the hair before Owen's pulled back over. But I was just like, how is his hair? I mean, the strands. Tough.
Bret makes his own escape attempt, only for Owen to kind of pull him down into like what is like a torture rack position, and then kind of performs like a slow Samoan drop. Whereas when we see the Samoan drop from people, it's very like quick. I think it was like I have him in this awkward position.
So I'll just
lean
back.
Bret rams Owen's face into the cage from that point, and then suplexes him from the cage.
Girl.
Crazy.
I really did not. I was like, please don't. Please. Like, obviously I want to see it, but also at the same time, like fear wars with my fight or flight kicks in. And I'm just like, please don't, please. And then God, they die. They basically die. They die and are reborn.
No, I understand. The anxiety is palpable, but intentionally so.
Of course. And if they didn't do something off the top of the cage, I mean, what's the point of the cage?
What's the point, really? Owen hits the pile driver, goes to escape, punches Bret down from the angle that he's on, and so I'm explaining this poorly. Owen hits the pile driver, goes to make an escape. Bret follows him up. Owen punches Bret off of the top rope where they're both fighting, and then Bret immediately loses his balance, straddles the top rope, and just smacks onto the floor.
Oh.
It was bad because of how fast it was. Because it really it was like I think that was an accident.
It definitely looked like an accident, but also it was like great because it's like they're trying to be like, oh, they're so weak right now. They can barely even like stand up or whatever. So it almost like, even though it wasn't accident, it played into the whole story that like he was so weak, the punch, like literally he couldn't even hang on anymore.
And then from there we get into, I just dubbed a brother brawl. Like they're just like on the floor, like rolling and punching each other. Like there's no rhyme, reason, no scientific wrestling thought like behind it. They're just kind of wailing on each other because they're brothers.
Yes.
And then we have Owen getting slingshotted into the cage, which was absolutely insane. Owen gets his back to the cage. He tries to get up and falls. I love that little like touch where he goes to like try and get up and just like immediately falls.
So good.
He hits Bret with a spinning heel kick. Owen almost escapes of his own volition. Bret kicks Owen's hands off of the. It was crazy. Bret, Owen's using his hands to like hold on to the cage. Obviously, Bret just kicks them so that he falls backwards, and he just has like an awkward landing. Yeah, it was just kind of like a clunky landing. Again, you're not looking when you're falling; you're just falling.
You're just falling. Yeah.
We follow that up with a double clothesline from the two. I have a note here from Jerry that says the British Bulldog looks like a trained steel clapping so hard. And I'm gonna use this opportunity.
Do it.
British Bulldog looked crazy.
Crazy.
And they cut to him like 6 times, so I feel like he's fair game.
Absolutely.
Brown vest, sleeveless vest, nothing underneath, no button down, no nothing, no nothing. He's got just the longest hair I've ever seen on the Bulldog, and these like very weird like professor glasses. It's just such a weird juxtaposition where you're just like, sir, if you're gonna like try and look put together, sleeves, sleeves.
One time.
Go quite far in that endeavor, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, vests are supposed to be worn over something, like a shirt.
Right.
Not just with your bare chest and a knit vest.
No, honestly.
And long hair and glasses. It was because I guess British, like the family has split. It's like Jim Neidhart and Owen, and then Bulldog and Bret and whomever else. But so like Bulldog is there like for Bret, at least according to Jim. But it did honestly give that. It really super did. Where it was like, okay, like simmer down. But when they first showed him on the camera, I was like, huh. I was like, who is that? And I was like, that's the British Bulldog. I was like, where? Buried under that muskrat. That hair. Unkempt, long, scraggly, the buzz cut. Please, I can't wait to see her again.
Absolutely. After that comment, we get a superplex from the cage. Owen gets put in a sharpshooter, and he turns to the camera and he's just like, "I'm gonna break his legs." He's just screaming. He's just screaming at
his legs.
Break his legs. Bret reverses into a sharpshooter of his own. They both make a scramble for the top rope. They both actually make it to the outside, and they're fighting on the outside of the cage. And Owen gets caught. His leg gets caught, and so he's hanging basically upside down from the cage. Bret rather jumps down, thus retaining the WWF Championship and winning the match. And then what ensued after was apparently some calamity from Jim and Bill knocking out the entirety of the Hart family, which started when he knocked over the Bulldog and his wife over the barricade. And then goes and like climbs into the cage, locks himself in, sort of, and continues his onslaught, which is, I guess a choice that he has made.
The way he took out Miss Calgary. The way he took her out. Well, first of all, Bulldog, like, release your wife. Like, Jim went after Bulldog, and Bulldog just was like, "You're coming with me, I guess," and took her down. And she really went down. Like, she smacked her head on the barricade. Like, it was not a good time. And then it always, I don't want to say cracks me up, but it always gets me when like wrestlers are hit when they're not wrestling. Like Bulldog will take a beating in the ring, and he gets one like hit from Jim Neidhart, and he's down for the deceased.
Right.
Deceased. Like he'll never.
That's
What?
the way it goes. That's the way it goes. It's all of them.
It's just so funny to me. And then yeah, and then when Jim gets in the cage, they give him like a chain, but he can't figure out how to lock it. So he like is trying and like the people are supposed to be like pulling on the door, so they're like they were trying to act like, oh no, and Jim's like I heard him go like, just wait a minute, just wait a minute. And I was like, ah, like, and then finally he figures it out or whatever. But when I tell you, every member of the Hart family is like trying to climb the cage, and Owen and Jim are just punching their lights out, knocking them down. I was like, all the men in civilian clothes are getting their teeth knocked out of their head. But you know, Bret gets the beating of his life, la la la, and then Owen and Jim finally leave. Like Bulldog finally gets in the ring, and Jim and Owen like escape the other side. And I will say, Jim, I mean, as the Anvil, as like the Rhino, as whatever, he's obviously not like spry. So watching him try to outpace Bulldog climbing the cage was also very comical. But yeah, so then Jim and Owen like ha ha hee hee off into the sunset. And I just want to say, like, I would never trust a man with a goatee. I don't know how you let that happen, Owen, but that
this thing as his. Like
couldn't be me. It's too maintained. I don't know what's worse, like a really, really well-maintained goatee or one that's like disgusting and scraggly.
honestly, I don't know.
I couldn't tell you. Debate about it in the comments.
It's a little bit different vein, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it means different things.
Describe like mankind and Triple H.
Yeah, okay, yes, yes.
I don't know what I'm doing, and that is scary. And then the other one's like, I know exactly what I'm doing, and that's also scary. So
That's very true. That's very, very true. Well, so yeah, I mean, it was delightful to watch. I'm grateful for Xavier for pulling his weight in terms of the note taking, because I seriously was like, this happens a lot when we watch matches I've never seen, because I'm just like, I don't know, I can't, I'm just enthralled and enraptured. And it's
not that you just enjoy it for what it is, then try and take down every note. So it's all good.
oh man, that's so sweet. You're like so obsessed with me, it's crazy. But okay, he's like, where? But so this was just a quick little jump back into After Dark. We're going to be coming back hot and heavy very shortly. Because some big things are happening in the modern world of wrestling outside of our show. And I don't know if I want to give it away yet, but I'm sure you guys know what it is. And we're gonna be diving into the tea because we can't help ourselves. It's crazy and piping hot. But we're glad to see you all again, and we'll hope you'll join us on our regular show too. And this has been another edition of the New Wrestling Podcast After Dark. We love you all so much, and we'll see you on the next one.